This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Today is the 31st of July. It is 5:32. Calling the police committee meeting to order. We're here in Village Hall. Got Adam Lefevre, Jason Ackerman, and Chief White, and Sergeant Half and Julia Rook. So I will call the meeting to order, 5:32. Doesn't look like anybody has public comments. Any conflicts of interest from anybody? Hearing none, how about approval of the minutes? Did you guys have a chance to look at the minutes?
I did. I'll make a motion to approve. A motion.
All right, that was a
Second.
second for Jason, all in favor? Aye. Sign those minutes. There you go.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, I don't know who's doing what topics, but
We'll just start off.
kick off from Motorola.
So we had a meeting with Motorola via WebEx. Go over all the equipment we're gonna get, all the services, the expectation, what it's gonna be. They don't have a date yet when the equipment's gonna be here, so we're still waiting on that. They just wanna make sure that everything on our list is what we ordered, what we're gonna get. There were some technical questions for the IT department, Rocker IT, JJ was on that call, so any technical questions they had for him, he was able to answer. So basically, we're just in a holding pattern now. Once the equipment comes in, they'll set up a date, they'll come in here, they'll install everything. And make sure that everything's working before they move on.
One question, there was one item, was it a switch box or something that you said we already had and probably
Server.
could be
The server.
deleted?
The server.
Did that get deleted and the quote lowered then?
They have to look at what we have to make sure that it will actually work.
Okay, otherwise it would be that full price and we would
Yeah.
get a new server.
Well, a lot of it now is direct to the cloud. So if we had the equipment in the cars, what do they call
We were just talking about
it?
it.
Yeah, we were just talking about, but anyway, it's a power equipment in the box, that if we had that, which would incur the cost of a cellular card,
It's a monthly cost.
it would add a monthly cost for each car. They could take their body camera off, put it in its device, and it would automatically upload to the cloud. Whereas now, they have to come back here, close to the station, and then once it connects, it'll automatically download to the server and then up to the cloud. So maybe that's something we'll look at down the road, because they could be anywhere. So if they finish a call, don't come back to the office, it would automatically say if they had to take somebody to jail, whatever. As soon as they shut it off, it would automatically start uploading that to the cloud. So if they had to come back and review the video after the case, it would already be loaded. Whereas now they have to come back here, sit for a while or whatever, let the car sit and let it upload,
How long does that take?
depending on how long the contact was. And it's gonna be slow.
Minutes or?
It's gonna be slowed down a little bit now too, because you have not only the car downloading, you have body camera footage downloaded. So maybe we'll see how it goes and see what time frame it takes to say if you have 2 or 3 people on scene, plus a car camera, see how long it takes to upload all that equipment.
They gotta stay here a half hour, maybe let us know.
Yeah. That's what I mean, it's
Just put a donut shop next to it.
Yeah.
hey. But just so you know, we've had that contact with them, spoken to them, appears to be everything is okay. It'll wait till they get here to determine if that server back there is gonna do what we need it to do or not.
And since we're on body cameras and whatnot, I did check the status of our grant and nothing has been awarded yet.
To anybody or?
No, I can only see ours, so not sure where we're at.
We're good there. And
But there's still money though, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's $30 million, so there should be plenty.
All right, yep, radar sign deployment.
As you see, driving around town, we did move the signs. I think they're in a more appropriate place now.
Where are they? I didn't see them.
One's right on the Lively McNair, as you go south, it's right, the last utility pole, light pole is on there.
Coming into town.
Coming into town instead of going out. So you get people that come up over the hill,
Yeah,
it's the last thing you're gonna see before hitting McNair Road. seems to be slowing people down.
Okay.
We haven't really looked at the data lately, but, we'll do that since we moved it. The other one got moved farther down on McNair Road, like, Adam was talking about. We felt it was too close to the
You can get a
corner.
better picture of what's truly going on over there.
It was too close to the corner, so you just get people that are actually starting to speed up. But I think this will be a more accurate picture of what's going on down McNair Road.
It's down west of Swift yet even.
No,
No,
not quite.
Not
Almost,
quite.
it's
In
almost.
front of you're in.
Oh, it
pretty
is.
much.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's all we have for that.
All right.
The SRO update, Jeff Spellman has moved to the day shift. He is, very soon to be up to school. August 1st is what we figured.
It'll be next week.
Next Monday.
Yep.
So he'll be
He's
up
gonna
there.
be working there on August 1st?
No, tomorrow's August 1st, it'll be next Monday.
Yeah, next
I was
Monday.
gonna say,
Starting-
school doesn't start till the 21st. Why
Right.
would he be?
We wanna get him acclimated, make sure he knows what they want. In fact, he met with, Superintendent Schwoko this morning, just kind of go over things and see how things are gonna work, so there's some things I need to look at.
But are you talking, I mean, full-time work there, starting a week, 2 weeks
He'll-
before school?
No, he'll still be out, he'll still take patrol calls, but we wanna give him time to get up there and meet people and walk around. I don't even think his office is actually open, is ready yet with all the equipment that's supposed to be in there, so. We just thought, get up there, he can see how things are going. He's actually has been talking to an SRO from Rockton, Penny Cure,
Okay.
to see what her days are like, what it entails and all that, so. It's gonna be a learning experience, so. We just wanna get him as soon as possible, get him acclimated to the day shift. He's still having problems with sleeping at night because he used to be up all the time, so. But, he got his certification, he got his background check back, I submitted all that to the state. I haven't heard anything back, even if I am gonna hear anything back from the state or not, but, we should be good to go with that.
So who's taking his night shift? Somebody alone or?
It'll be Robert, right?
Yeah.
Robert took his side,
All the shifts are covered,
Yeah.
including all the mid shifts, so
so
everyone.
we have, the only time we have somebody here by themselves is from 6 AM. Well, on the weekend, 6 AM to 3 PM,
During the day.
and then 3 AM to 6 AM. Otherwise, we have two the whole time. So, but if it's through the week, obviously there's two of us here, it's either Devin and I, or it's Randy and I, until 3 in the afternoon. Then, of course, during the school year, Jeff will be at school 7:30 to 4, I think it is. So, there. System updates on new employees, getting them all certified in certain aspects. They're all alcohol operator certified. So if they get a DUI, they understand the PBT because they were trained on it thoroughly. And they can also operate a legal, alcohol blow, which is a piece of equipment out of the sheriff's department. In the past, what we'd have to do is they would have somebody at the jail that was an operator. They could operate the equipment because they were certified to do that. Well, everybody here is certified to do that now. I'm not, but all the patrol people can. So if they have to go down there, they don't have to take somebody out of corrections to come out and operate the machine for them. They can do it themselves. Their certifications are what, 2 years?
3 years.
3 years, okay. So that's, and we've got some of the new guys we sent to, training such as professional report writing, and some other things that we just thought, okay, you're new, we wanna put you through that. There's no real cost to any of those, because those are covered by our, membership to Northern Illinois Training Advisory Board, which is $85 a year, so no added cost involved with that.
I'll say that they all, including you two, of course, but for the 4th of July parade, the help was great, to get that to go. Those guys stood out there in some hot weather in those uniforms.
A little warm. Yeah, I think they all did outstanding too. Guys at McNair and Alive at the end of the night, trying to get all those cars out. That's usually, he and I usually did that up there, and they did this as well, so it's good to know we've got other people that can do it, so.
So how is everyone, I mean, is this part of your report? I won't steal your thunder. Are we gonna talk about this, the whole, all the new people?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait then. Sounds good. All right, Village Hall cameras, or was that all you had, Jeff? For that topic?
Yeah, that was it. Village Hall cameras are here. We have somebody that's gonna assist us in putting them in. He works for a very large company and he has to do volunteer time. He's a very technical guy.
Where'd you find him?
Huh?
Where'd you find him?
His friend.
Yeah. Who grew up in Chicago but lives in Durand now.
So he has, per his company that he works for, he has to volunteer time. So he's gonna come and use his volunteer time to come help us install all these cameras.
Nice.
Wow.
When?
Next week.
Week of the 14th.
Yeah.
I meant when, like.
Oh, yeah.
we buy into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Total win-win.
Win-win, yes.
But they will be installed, we're gonna start, on the day of the next board meeting, and hopefully have them done middle of the week. And we've got a lot of cameras going up in this building, including one
Great.
that will be on the front of the building that faces the park, and can actually, pan front and
Great.
zoom. So we can see anything that might happen at the park, or even down either one of them.
And those cameras actually will pick up and it will follow. If you say if you want to follow vehicles or something, it'll pick it up and it'll actually follow that vehicle, that person. So, we're hoping that there's activity, it'll pick it up, follow it, animals, people, or cars, right?
Mhm.
So hopefully that'll be a good feature for us. And the other one that's gonna be, similar to that's gonna be out back, correct?
Yeah, we'll have one out back, back door, so it'll cover everything on, this side of the building, out towards the alley.
What records it, or what holds?
It's an NVR,
Also.
NVR that goes, and it's all accessible via,
What's that mean?
It's
an app.
it'll have an actual hard drive that's being saved here at the village.
How much gets saved?
It's got 2 terabytes, and based on the amount of cameras we got, we'll probably have about a week. So we can look back a week on anything.
So it's more if something happens, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Right, get an idea, where it happens at, number one. Number two, we can go back and look at it. And it'll eventually just eat its tail and keep recording over itself. But we can set alerts on it, say if it's a certain area we want covered, like the back door, or say a certain area in the park or something like that, we're having problems at, we can set a geofence basically. So if anything passes by that, the camera will turn on, number one, and number two, it'll record and then follow whatever's going on there. So for the cost we have, for the money that's involved with it, it's gonna be a pretty good system, I think.
Where do we end up getting it from?
Amazon.
Amazon.
We, for the 13 cameras that we have, it was under $1,500. And then myself, chief, and the other guy will install, and so we won't incur any cost there. We're getting paid either way,
A
so.
lot less than the 45,000 or.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah, that one,
You guys love to use power tools?
Huh?
You guys love to use power tools?
All right, I think that's good for that. So budget 2024, it's just a couple questions. I kind of started putting numbers together for this already. So what I did for salaries, I did a 3% increase and a 5% increase. I don't know where it's gonna go or whatever the decision is, so I had those numbers put together for both of those. It's just a matter of, obviously, if I figure out the percentage for Social Security and Medicare, all the benefits that go along with it, the percentages, I can figure those numbers out. But it's all depend on if there's, what we're gonna use for a pay scale for 2024. I did find out that there's nobody gonna be retiring here by the end of the year, so, that person will still be, on the payroll. So that's, I had to take that into consideration. I had to ask him kind of point blank if he intended to, so I knew what to look for in the budget, so. But I wanna get probably with Julie to start going over some of those, so we can kind of narrow some of that stuff down and see what's gonna happen with it. 'Cause I didn't know if we were gonna stick with the, program that we're using now, as far as the CPI.
So we're not changing again.
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
That's-
Every year it's.
For the problem is, I mean.
Oh,
we're-
with the
we're-
staff program?
Well, no, the current ordinance we have, it would have worked great for the first couple of years, but if we assume all employees are being good, right? 5%, so once you snowball, you know how that works, it's not sustainable for us. That 5% is not sustainable for a village,
So-
because you're just gonna, imagine getting a 5% raise every year.
Even with this CPI, people aren't getting 5%.
So, but you know what I'm saying, though, it's, the first couple of years is not gonna be horrible. Go do the big picture,
Compound, yeah.
it's gonna be compounding, and that's where the step bracket's gonna bring that down. Our employees will get their longevity raise, or I call them longevity raise, other people call them, what's another term for it?
It's like the loyalty bonus type.
Yes, you're gonna get that, and that's where the step comes in, and you just apply.
I think the admin team was gonna take on this.
They did,
step bracket, right?
and we never got to it, the meeting was running longer, and, yeah.
So that's just what the budget, as far as the salaries are gonna change, depending on if we go with step program, I can figure those numbers off the chart that, Adam came up with.
Once you look at the step, it's pretty simple. So,
Were you in that meeting when we were doing this stuff the last time?
no, I mean, it's a lot to swallow at once, and I think I don't have them in here.
Once you get the
Yeah.
I think once you get the pattern figured out, it's a lot easier to work with.
Correct.
It's figuring out,
I don't have them in this here,
right,
because I sent these to a graph of like the next 20 years. Like what an employee would have, and how it came down and walked over, and how it would just jumped.
And I think that-
It just,
I think something like that's easier to predict for the future than there is to go with the CPI and whatever combination they go with otherwise. This is gonna be, it's gonna be a set number. Obviously, the number's gonna increase depending on what raises are handed out, and it's gonna.
Trainings though, that's where I always get stuck, like experience, you might call it. Well,
well, that's where your step comes into play. If you've been here for 4 years, you're gonna be moving over in that lane, or down, depends on which way you got the graph going.
and I
So you're paying them for that experience.
don't wanna get in it,
No, you're fine, you're
But-
fine.
I just keep coming back to, it doesn't work like as a teacher, it's education, right?
Correct.
It's longevity
They
and
get
education.
longevity plus their
So
master
like we
credits.
talked, you're an example that comes up because you're sergeant and technical. So that's the one he's got like 2 hat, so should it be like a step over for him because he has that? Say you hired somebody else
So
who's just a sergeant.
what you would do is you would have one bracket, like for example, this bracket right here
You follow
would
me?
be patrol. And then if you were to have a sergeant, I think I did the sergeant before we made him he was 12% over
So
patrol
you are
officer pay.
rewarding.
You
him
would,
for-
you
Oh,
would,
yeah.
you would
Oh, yeah.
reward per rank.
Yeah, cause it's not.
There's
it's
a
not-
step for that.
Yeah, it's not
I just
one,
didn't-
it's not one bracket for everybody by the years of service.
Yeah.
So if there's a bracket for
Yeah, it
patrol,
can't be.
a bracket for sergeant, a bracket for the chief, and if
So-
you had
so
anybody in
If you're
between
looking
there.
at maintenance, like the public works stuff, there's a maintenance, like an entry level maintenance worker, and then you have, let's say, a water operator.
Yeah.
Completely-
There you go.
And he's on a completely
that's
different,
a
he's
good
on a
example.
completely different
Okay.
bracket, you know?
I'm going astray.
No.
Yeah, right.
We're
Right.
fine.
But that's,
So to
just,
bring up that person a budget's really hard, because we got work to do,
Yeah,
so I don't know
no,
what
I
to
got
tell
it.
you.
No, but if you look at it this way, Jason, the way I figured it is you have like a patrol officer 1, patrol officer 2, patrol officer 3, and that's how it goes.
Like that,
So that's,
your education level
Yeah.
in a.
yeah, they, well,
different-
4 years of experience. So we can go back to what we were doing here, but I just want to touch on that.
Sure.
Did you hear anything from Mary? I did not, about UTV ordinance?
First of all, before we go there, budget, so did you have any bigger changes to the budget? I mean, you started this conversation about budget, all we talked about was salaries, was there anything additional
nothing-
big you're thinking of for next year at this point?
No, at this point, no. I mean, I told you about, the 2 LPRs I'd like to purchase, but I don't know if that'll go through. This is kind of gonna be in the new business or my report, but I'll get to this real quick. Part of the budget. I've had some people approach me and ask for a couple more speed signs,
Yeah,
like the
but
ones that are here.
I think we
Cunningham
should,
Road was one of them.
I've seen like a side street, I've seen one on
Yeah.
like, what, Greenlee or one of the
But
neighborhoods.
I'm thinking instead of having something like this,
Big ones.
it's just get with the solar, it just get a smaller sign where it just shows the speed and it's battery powered.
Well,
Why, what's wrong with these?
Nothing, but
so,
they're a little more.
They're not as easy to
Because,
move.
yeah, because these collect data, the ones we put out there, we collect data.
so we can get the smaller signs with solar panels, and they just mount right on the top of the standard pole. And, it's what Peck has, it's what Rockford has.
Okay. With
They're-
that flashy white light.
So they still have a flashing white light just to grab your attention if you're going too fast. So those smaller
It does.
signs still have that, just these big signs that we have now collect a lot of data. I don't necessarily think that we need to collect data from every corner of the village, but just something to grab the attention of.
Yeah, I think
drivers
those
and get them slowed
reporting
down.
ones are good when we have problem areas, and if you can absolutely, prove it.
I can tell you right now, the amount of citations that have been written since we've got full staff is probably triple.
So, since we're kind of on that subject, there was a comment on the Winnebago Facebook page, and somebody was complaining about speed. I went and I looked from March 1st to today's date, we have made 53 traffic stops on Cunningham Road. In that same time period, throughout the entire village, we've made 320 traffic stops. That's a lot of traffic stops that our cops are out there making
In this little town.
in this
So I
little
think-
town.
I think just purely having the staff is gonna.
It's been nice to see squads again.
I had a neighbor ask
We
me.
had times I haven't seen anybody, anywhere.
I had a neighbor ask me, we got a lot more, like, cops, I go, we're at full staff, I said, you're done, because he's like, I noticed them.
Now just get them to wave at me, please. Tell them to look for the white Lexus if that's what it takes. I
Oh,
think they should
What,
wave
they
at
should
everybody.
wave, if anybody waves at them, they should wave back.
Did you wave back at me? I saw you go across or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw you working on something.
Well, that's just a couple of things that I thought about. The speed sign.
Those are not pricey though, right?
No.
They're not near as,
I
Well, we
thought
got-
it was like half as much you said when we started all that for the.
yeah, I
smaller.
think ended up getting those two, I think, for around six
Right.
total.
Right.
I think we can get some smaller ones that'll do what we
I
want
think we can
for
see what we
probably
got
half
in
of
the-
that.
I don't know what we got left in our budget for this.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, this.
And you can get the end of the year deal.
I'm throwing out-
Yes, but
Alright.
let's do the research and get the right one, not just hodgepodge, something to spend money in a budget, because we're not real thrilled with what we have.
Oh, I love these.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
I
these
love
are-
these. These are great.
Yeah, they're
It's
fantastic.
just, they're
I'm
not,
serious.
they're not friendly to the
The,
repossession.
the original idea was to be able to move them from place to place, but they're a little bigger than we expected, a
I
little
don't
harder to move.
Well, and I think the reason we got them was because we had no police, I mean, we were
Right,
very
that too.
skinny, and
That too.
we gotta figure out where we need to spend some time, so
But somebody brought up the idea and brought it up to me and said, hey, how come we don't have speed signs down here or over there? Well, so,
Money doesn't grow on trees.
that's right. So I just throw it out there, and then the
raise your
LPR,
taxes and take care of it.
and then the LPR idea was just to, the state police is solving a lot of crime on the interstates in by Chicago because of, and once you get into that database, you can get data from anywhere in the United States who uses that system. So if you have
Those cameras, they
the
can.
flock system,
Okay.
you have access, and we've got, since we've signed up with Motorola, we get 15 or 20 requests a week for them to access our data, and we don't even have cameras up yet.
Yeah, the cameras aren't even here yet, and people are already asking.
Yeah. And we just, if you want it, you can have it. Once we start getting it, you guys can have it.
So they couldn't give us an ETA on equipment?
Ship date is supposedly the middle of next month. And that's only for the body cameras, the car cameras are a little bit further.
So it's,
There's still that microchip shortage, so it hasn't caught up yet.
so,
Apparently, they're on a boat
They're
somewhere.
in a bunch of cars now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we ready to go on to
Yep.
UTV?
Yep.
I did reach out to Mary. She, got back to me and said she would have an update for me before the meeting, but I just checked and it's not there. I don't have anything from her. So I have nothing, I have no update. I kind of asked for an ETA on her timeline based on everything she's working on, and I don't have anything, so I don't have anything to report on.
Crisis is over, we can move on with UTV.
Because we missed the season, is what you're saying, basically?
And now we can just, we'll roll into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made good progress, I mean, just
Oh,
with
yeah,
the legal
yeah.
review, and that's, we just gotta get through that, and we'll be in.
And that's always the hard part.
Yeah, I still don't think, I mean, I called up your thing, but your spreadsheet, but I think we're just waiting on
Legal.
that to,
Pretty
this
much.
other stuff is kinda, the only thing is the 30, you mentioned the 35 mph, so that's why I brought it up on that one
Right.
road, McNair Road, but I don't know what that takes. You guys didn't think it was that big a
I
deal.
don't think it would be too.
So-
And then we would have to have the county approve
Cut-
it's on their portion of the road, right? So I think Frank had suggested the ordinance say it's effective in 60 days after the
Exactly.
county does its thing, so maybe by next spring.
Yeah. Be plowing snow with them.
All right, crime statistics in the package, you guys have any comments on that?
You can see that we've had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 20 impounds that we've done, obviously some of them haven't been paid yet, but, that number is starting to move a little higher as we go along. And you have the crime statistics for the comparisons of the 3 years, so, they're actually more than 3 years, all the way back to 2008, but,
They're out there.
nothing spectacular,
Can I ask,
nothing that really stands out.
I want to ask a question about this one.
Sure.
Spreadsheet. What's the little asterisk with report does not reflect all calls, all reports, and all the rest?
There may be some that
Just curious.
they got a call that didn't amount to anything, so there's no report for it. I tried, when I look into the RMS, I look up calls for service, so anything we get a call for is gonna be associated in there. I do incidents, which is normally an incident where we write a report. The traffic is the citations written. So I mean, and total calls for service, because total calls for service, every call we got, even if we got the call and they cancel this.
Okay. That's what
So,
your
yeah, it's,
point.
there could be some inconsistencies in there, because there's some people in the community that have a habit of calling personal cell phones of officers, say, hey, can you come over and check this? So it wasn't really a call, because it wasn't through the dispatch center, and it wasn't really, it was more of a, hey, can you give me some advice or something, that wasn't really crime related. So that doesn't get figured in there, and
I just
but
saw
anything
it.
that comes through dispatch is on this sheet.
I hadn't noticed it
And not every single crime is listed on there. Those are
Yeah.
the most commonly, or most.
And there's some of those have been added over
before.
the
Oh,
years.
as far as that.
Yeah, yeah.
That would have to be about 10 pages, which looks at everything.
Yeah.
No, right, okay, I get it.
But you have any questions about either one of those?
All right, Sergeant Hale, you're up.
So all of our officers are currently in their established shifts and everything is working out really well. We are keeping an eye on state mandated trainings that are upcoming, and Chief White and I are going to a training next month that's required by the state, and the other officers will have to start filtering through those trainings as well. They have until the end of next year to get them done.
It's a 3-year mandate.
Yeah, and we've been given a whole list of mandates from the state of Illinois that we have to keep on a rotation and a cycle. And luckily, NITAB, the Northern Illinois Training Board, has been really great about scheduling those trainings to ensure that every officer in the county has it afforded to them. Our really good working relationship with the director of NITAB helps, because when there's something coming up, he'll let us know, hey, this training's coming up and your people need this. So we've been working really well with them. Everyone's really excited about where they're at, and they're out there busy, hitting it hard. I mean, just this weekend alone, DUI revoked, a couple other calls I can't think of off the top of my head, but they've been busy out there getting it.
They're moving.
And I've started giving officers extra assignments just to make sure that downtime isn't just spent sitting in a parking lot observing things. So like vehicle inventories. We have a bunch of equipment in the vehicle. Now an officer is assigned to ensure that all the equipment is there, it's all accounted for, and as supplies complete, they send me an email, we order it out, we get everything squared away. Gonna start working with 2 other officers in a role to start working with Officer Smith about evidence. These are evidence custodian right now. I'd like to get 2 more people trained, just in case something were to ever happen. Now there's 2 other people on staff who work opposite of one another that can do it as well. Just trying to even out the workload so that everyone has specialty and something that they can kind of put their own stamp on. So everyone's doing really well. Vehicles are running fantastically. Knock on wood. Well, luckily they're all under warranty, so it works out really well. We have 1 vehicle being upfitted right now, and we are just waiting for Motorola, actually on both accounts. We're waiting for radio, we're waiting for cameras. So as soon as they get here, then that car will be complete.
That's the SRO inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. There will be some upgrades for tires coming later in the fall. They're getting worn.
Yeah,
We have new tires on cars before winter hits, so, but that's figured in there.
120 needs brakes, I mean, stuff like that,
Yeah.
that just happens.
Nothing huge, no transmissions or,
Water pumps.
And Cotter, our newest one?
Out there just hitting it hard and making friends everywhere he goes.
Oh, good.
and he's the voice of reason.
How do you make friends when you're writing tickets?
That's what I mean, I was being facetious. Yeah, he writes some tickets. I will tell you.
I just read your post.
Oh, did you? Thank you. I have processed more tickets in this last month than I have in the last 3 years, like in one month. It's a lot.
Mostly from one person, or?
No, it is everyone.
Across
Speeding.
Speeding, stop signs, cell phones, DUIs,
registrations.
registration.
Yeah,
I mean, they are out there hitting it hard.
You guys, good job.
Yeah,
Absolutely will. They are doing fantastic out there.
good,
And that is all I have.
good, thank you.
Most of the stuff that I have, we already talked about. The speed signs, the LPRs, and budgets. I mean, that was just figuring out which direction we're gonna go with that. I can put the numbers together for all of it, and you and I can go over it, whatever you wanna do. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but,
I think if we had set our first budget meeting, I think we might have, we've set a bunch of meetings in finance. I don't know when it is though. So yeah, if you wanna, whenever you wanna start putting numbers together, it's fine, and
yeah.
then.
Well, I got it just in a loose table and Word right now, but I wanna get closer to it. You let me know when your first budget meeting is gonna be up, put it in an Excel document, and then, that way it's formatted the way it was last year.
Mhm. I think Sally's got those spreadsheets, right? I think she usually sends them out to you, doesn't she, or?
She does, but it's not in Excel that I'm aware of.
I think we did that last year, she switched to Excel so
Okay.
everybody could
So
just.
maybe that, okay. If she
Double,
sends it-
double check with her before you
Yeah.
start something.
Oh, yeah, I will.
So think now of anything you want for next year that you can always put in the first run of the budget, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
if there's
yeah.
anything else, but I
I
think
mean,
you
like
guys.
I said, the really only 2 things I can think of right now are, the LPRs, the 2 LPRs that are stationary, and then, the radar, the speed sign. I mean, that's really, you think of anything else that might come up?
Not off the top of my head, but give me time, I guess.
Think about the, car allowance, the, what do you call it?
Oh, the
Sinking
sinking
fund
fund.
amount now, because we've got all our cars kind of the same age, right?
Right.
So,
But there's almost enough in that sinking fund now to purchase another car.
okay, well, we're still gonna have
Almost, it's
to.
very, very close.
And then we also have
There's another 18.
cannabis money and.
Huh?
Cannabis money. and-
Yeah, cannabis money, and there's other avenues.
So when you're asking him to add, I'm just learning here. When you're asking him to add in, so you know that whatever money the budget was, you're gonna carry that on to the next year?
Not necessarily, so we start with a dry run, we look at what was budgeted last year, and you look at overages and under, you know, a lot of your costs are known, I mean, salaries, RMS, I mean, all of them have got dues or something like that, so there's not, what they do, we talk about every year is there something the department needs?
Right.
Like, we need all these cameras and stuff, so we've been talking about for years when to implement it, now it's.
So that could make it go theoretically down.
It could, now that's
Yes.
we have to budget 1 year's worth of cost of that, because that
Why could-
99,000 was a down payment, then it's a payment. for-
16,000.
That has to be added to the
So-
budget
so
that we didn't have.
Theory-
So
theory,
you are moved.
they could actually have budget less next year.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
I was.
there was $160,000 this year's budget for body cameras and stuff, well, that number is gonna be a lot less.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
like
right,
20,000, right?
Yeah.
But.
They're not buying radios, they just bought a bunch of
Yeah, we get a
radios.
bunch of radios.
Well, we have
Squad
a lot more officers too, which is
Yeah.
gonna take a salary.
Well,
But you're gonna get moving budget for it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it's so,
Right.
it's your capital, you're gonna see your capital improvement stuff is gonna drop off.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows.
Well, we talked about the cars and that, so, you know,
Yeah,
that
so
they'll
we do a.
try and get them out further, so.
Yeah, the whole idea is, for years, we have been putting money in what they call a sinking fund that goes downstate.
Right,
So that money is earmarked for new cars. Well, if we allow that, since we've got a lot of new cars here now, allow that to keep building, I think it's around 18,000 a year we put in that sinking fund now. Cars running about 40,000, less the equipment, so if you do a total, you're probably talking 75,000 with all the equipment that goes in it, roughly. I think there's enough probably now, like I said, in there now to purchase a vehicle. It'd just be a matter of the equipment wouldn't be included in that. So there's $18,000 a year that we budget to go into that sugar fund, so we can look forward and say, okay, in 3 years or whatever, we're gonna need a car.
spread
Is
it
that,
out
is that
over time.
enough, that 18,000, is that enough for the sinking fund or
Um,
something like that?
We had, actually, in the last couple of years, we had
Just
upped it.
raised it.
Yeah, we just raised it not too long ago, it was at 16, I think it was, went to 18.
And
So you
we
figure-
might actually, just because of the cost of vehicles have gone up, I mean, I remember.
That's why I'm
That's why I
asking.
mentioned, yeah, the sinking fund.
Our Tahoe was 32,000 when we bought it, now to buy the same exact spec Tahoe, it's 44,000.
So the costs are going up.
And the same thing with.
That's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
18,000, I mean, I get your.
Well, you figure- Well, 18 times 3, what's that, 36, about 50,000? What, 50?
54.
54.
Mhm.
So right now, the cars that are here should last at least 3 more. We've probably got 2
Yeah,
or
5
3 years
cars right
already
now.
in the sinking fund from previous years. So by the time we get around to where to replace one of these, there should be plenty to cover everything. Depending on how much it costs the car to go up.
Right.
And some of
We used
these,
to be able to get a Ford Explorer for what, like 34, 36?
yeah,
Now you can't touch them for under 40.
it's ridiculous, it really is. Although I am noticing a trend that cars are starting to come down in price.
Yeah, they are.
And if we were to order one and not required to purchase one that's on a lot somewhere,
We can get a little bit cheaper price.
yeah, we can save about $3,000, but it all depends on what's needed at the time.
So Jason, when we put the budget together, we always say, these are kind of this is the budget, and there's kind of some wish list items that are in there, and there's notes that he supplies too that says we'd really like to upgrade this, or whatever the case may be. And then when finance puts it all together, we're like, we gotta cut 50,000 out of police, then we'll go back and say, we gotta figure out 50,000, and it would be those wish items would be the
Yeah.
first things, more than likely to leave.
Oh,
Depending
I
on-
see.
Yes, yeah, if it was a wish item, yes, something we felt was necessary, then we
Right,
had to push a little harder to try and keep it in there, but.
You start
Yeah.
putting the number.
mandates like,
Number one, this is my number one, if I can get anything, this is the one I want.
Yeah.
If I can get 2,
yeah,
great.
yeah, okay.
This item over here, you know, if you do it, great, it's not entire.
And that's what they do in public works too, they figure out street projects and how much you need to spend, how much MFT funds, so you'll go through that with, I think you're in public, are you guys both in
No.
public works?
Not me.
Neither of you are in public
I
works?
am.
We
Yeah,
got
Yeah.
community
Community
development.
development.
which I actually have something for a new business.
This is
if we
Clea,
can
sorry.
move on.
Yeah, that's all I got for my stuff, we got, Jason.
All right, new
Well-
business?
Well, in community development, it's just that, the food truck, we're dealing with that itinerant merchant, ordinance. And it came up, I just thought I'd let you know. It was mentioned that we would have the code enforcement officer, so that would, maybe, because we don't want the police showing up for every food truck that comes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Woo, sirens on and everything blazing because they don't have a permit. So we're trying to, it kind of came up in there and I thought it was interesting to say that, you know, that is what the code enforcement officer is.
The only problem I see with that though is code enforcement officer is not here 5 days a week or 7 days a week.
Okay.
He's only here.
It's number one.
So you just don't turn the sirens on when you come up to
Well,
that's it. It's a part-time position, number one. Number two, now he's a building inspector, is what I understand.
See, what it is that they're supposed to come to us as the village to get the permit, and then if it doesn't happen, right?
Right.
So, you know, like the farmer's market is what brought it up for me, and we talked about,
Oh, okay, yeah.
does the library, because it's on their property, maybe we could have the library just be the umbrella to say, you get the permits for everybody, let them do the dirty work.
We're opening up. We shut, so we had Seams County Fair. And the city went through and made sure everybody had their permits, and they shut down multiple vendors that we didn't have a city permit because it was county fairs within the city.
You know, what do? You don't wanna be, you still wanna be small town,
Right,
right? So
But I'm just saying, we're
But-
opening up a can of worms. Just-
I know, I'm trying to make it
Yes, I know.
small.
All I know is you guys wrote the rules, we don't enforce them. So, I mean,
The-
I'm not gonna step on toes, I mean.
Well, what happened, you know why it happened, maybe the background, it's because
Oh, yeah, I know.
it was called to the, or a form was sent to the Wood Fire Pizza last winter by us, by the village. So that kind of, okay, then he come in and he's like, well, the way your ordinance reads, the whole farmer's market should have one. So I read the thing, he's right. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now.
So nobody in the farmer's market gets a permit, is what you're saying?
They haven't up till now, nobody has. And it had nothing to do with it being on private property at the
Yeah, it's still,
library because it's still in village limits.
still public property though, public library, public property,
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be.
it's tax money that's.
So, but anyway, it just reads it's village limits and it reads that everybody should have one. And what I'm arguing in there, and now I'm getting off, but is the fee. Because should someone that's selling a flower plant have to pay the $200 a year, you know, are they making, you know, or does it go away because you're making them do that? That's what we're trying to figure out. So Mary's looking into other town, you know, Rockford does charge more, but not more than us. I think it's still less. We're trying to figure it out. But I want to look at Rockton, Roscoe, maybe Byron, some places that are comparable. But anyway, it was mentioned, now that's a good point, that the code enforcement officer isn't here all the time, so how does that?
Is it really that big of a deal if a police officer goes up and says, can I see your?
Probably
permit?"
not, I just pictured this.
And you're not gonna come up with something.
Maybe I'm overdoing it.
And we could do it where all we have is a vest, pair of jeans and a t-shirt on, where
No,
there's
actually,
vest to show who we are, just go up there and
Because
write a check.
There are more of them, I just saw one today, didn't I? Had a new one, where was that? I saw one today, thought of it, yeah.
Down at,
Oh, yeah, Dollar General, Family Dollar, one of them.
Dollar General, yeah, I saw it sitting there.
But also, you bring the whole food truck permit thing too, is who actually enforces the national fire code? Is it the village or is it the fire department?
Fire department?
Fire department.
Because they're also supposed to be fire code too.
Well, now if they get it, does that have anything to do with getting the county permit, because they?
No, health department's one thing, because that's for food service.
That's
I mean,
food.
fire is completely something else.
Fires, because it's part of whatever year they have,
No idea.
there's food vendors in there up to 2012, because we haven't adopted it, so.
Because you have to look
I
at it,
know,
I
it's a
think
can of
where you're coming from is you have to look at it, if you're cooking food in a truck, don't you have to have fire extinguishers and all that stuff? You know, to make
It's
sure.
gotta be so far away from, it's just, it's a can of worms,
I'm trying to keep it from
simple.
killing the farmer's market.
Well, no, I get that, but
That's what I'm at.
I think you also have to look at it to protect the public as well.
Right,
Make sure, number one,
totally.
you have your health department certificates and licenses to serve food, number one.
So that means they don't have the health certificates either at the farmer's
You know,
market?
No, they do.
They do.
They go through the county for that. That was kind of the complaint. If I walked around there and talked to a couple people and, oh, we have it, we are with the county. And we pay the permit fee with the county. They aren't separating it, where they think
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing the county
Right.
is, which I don't expect them to know.
Right.
They wouldn't know the ordinance, but.
Yeah, so I mean, but how many vendors up there are actually selling food? I mean, prepared food.
Yeah,
I couldn't even.
but see, it doesn't say prepared food in.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is,
At the fair, at the farmer's market?
Oh, you mean that would have to have a
There's
county
pies and
license?
bars
Yeah,
and
you-
stuff like that.
yeah, you would have to have health department.
Yeah, somebody selling a tomato doesn't have to have the health
No.
department thing, so.
Yeah,
I
but there
see
are
what you're
baked
saying.
goods out there for sure.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of where the board wants to go with it. I mean,
I know, we're talking about it in there, we'll see what Mary
I
comes
mean,
up
could
with.
do you wanna break it down? If you're selling these items, here's the permit cost. If you're selling these items, the permit cost. Split it up into, depending on,
And
I don't know.
and the background check, I totally agree with all that.
Yeah,
Especially because it also covers solicitors. So now, you've got people coming into people's doors. I like the background, I like it for all of
all
the
that.
background checks.
So I don't forget, we're gonna start doing more of these. I would like to see an ID making machine as well. So we can make IDs for these people that come in. Like,
I have it on.
just so that, okay, let's say Village of Winnebago, solicitor permit or whatever on it. Hard plastic, have an expiration date on it.
It's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, I think we priced those before, I didn't think it was worth it.
Well, the ordinance,
Does it have to be hard plastic? I mean.
the ordinance says we will give them an ID.
That's what I mean, we're looking at this up.
So will they?
If they have a permit.
And right now, we have a company that we use for IDs. We're not using it for the,
I mean, if they come to us soon enough before they wanna start, sure, we can. We can send out and have them made. That's no problem. It's just a matter of,
Can we rewrite these ordinances not to include some of that stuff, change it because
Well, that's what we have it in there, but.
we have the
You got-
ordinance of roads that we gotta get board approval for the solicitors. We brought up the last board meeting. Well,
Yeah,
we don't need to micromanage. If you're given, if they meet all these requirements.
Right, that's gonna get,
Why do we need a
Yeah.
full board approval? That's where I guess is,
and I think the idea was basically if they were going door to door, they would see that they've already checked with us, they have a permit to be out here, and they can trust the person, so they're not getting scammed. You see somebody without an ID,
could we
then,
get away with just getting some waterproof stickers and put a seal on it?
I think you could buy those plastic things with a clip pretty cheaply and
And
print
that's,
something off.
print
and-
something off,
Yeah.
that's what I like that idea than having an ID machine, because you can get an ID machine, because we just do it the way we work in the dumpster, you're gonna get it, we're gonna use it for all of our IDs, it's gonna sit in the closet, it's gonna obsolete for the next, for 2 years.
And for
You're
as
gonna
much
use
as
it.
you would use
And
it.
for how much we're gonna use it, we're just gonna be pitching it in the garbage 3-4 years from now, because either something's gonna break, you're not gonna get the material
or
that you
they're gonna stop making parts for it.
and then we're just wasting money.
No, I
You
like-
went prices, didn't you price it?
Yeah.
I thought so.
I like that idea, get a lanyard, maybe get,
Oh, we've already got lanyards and stuff.
we got this, we got a sticker, we can make a seal or something on it,
we have a lamination machine.
there we go. I mean, that's, to me, it's,
Fine.
I think
Well,
it's the easiest.
we'll have to see where it goes in there, because Mary is in there and we're trying to, but I wanted to bring it to you as well, because that's a good point. She was actually on board with the code enforcement officer. That is what you're supposed to be doing, is
That's fine.
enforcing the ordinances, but I get what you're saying. And it
I mean,
maybe,
if it's a spot check, you do it once a month, you check everybody once a month when they're here.
maybe
Well,
it's
you're gonna
not.
know though, once, hey, the pizza guy's got his permit, he's good for the next year.
Yeah.
And also you're gonna drive through town like, taco truck, that's new. That's.
So anyway.
But yeah, I just thought, so you're aware of that.
And the one other thing I just thought of, because I looked at the map behind it, you had mentioned about the corners, the highway jurisdiction. Did you ever get anywhere with
They're
that?
working on that, they're actually gonna change it, so if you look at a map in the future, they will not,
or at least we won't be dispatched out there.
Oh, really?
So it kind of,
I don't know where the one's at.
You mean you're not gonna get dispatched to
Anyway.
corners anymore?
So what it was is,
We were getting told that eastbound lanes are out.
east and westbound lanes where there are.
so on this map, what it shows on the CAD system is it shows the village goes up halfway into Route 20. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was, halfway.
So I got a hold of the dispatch center and she got a hold of their geographics person
They're rewriting that.
and they're gonna rewrite that, so our jurisdictional boundary is gonna be right here.
Oh, great.
So we used to get calls right here, out here on 20, either side. If it was in here, in this area, anywhere on 20, we were getting calls for it. And we've been had tickets thrown out of court for tickets we've written out there because we have no jurisdiction. So I need to have that changed, so if they get calls out here, they're going to the county or the state.
Great. I think
So that's
great.
in the works.
You can still potentially respond if there's something going on. if need.
Right, if it's somebody, traffic crash, whatever, we're gonna go down there. It's just, it won't be in our jurisdiction.
It's not your area then.
Right. I mean, if we follow somebody out there that's swerving, sure. Initial violation occurred in the village, but we stopped them out on 20. So we're still good there.
Seems right.
All right, what do we want to bring to the board meeting? Is there anything we need to bring?
I don't think so, but all of this is,
Village cameras? Just to give them an update? or-
yeah, could do that.
Oh, the village hall?
Yeah. That's about it.
They'll be getting installed the week we have the meetings.
Are you able to make both of you the next schedule, which would be the last Wednesday, which would be August 30th?
As of right now, yes.
Yes,
When do you know your schedule?
I know it right now, but I've been working overtime about every week, picking up shifts, so in the last 2 weeks, I had 70+ hours of overtime.
So 30 to 5:30?
So you can be here on the 30th then?
Right now, I can be here on the 30th.
yeah, I'm waiting for
He
it.
doesn't get it.
I said yes, I'm good. I'm good on the 30th. I work the 29th. So I'm available Wednesday the 30th.
Okay. We're good?
Yes.
Until the morning of the
Okay.
30th.
All right, no executive session, so we are adjourned at 6:25.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Oh, yeah,
I second.
thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye.
Thank you,
Any
everyone.
opposed?
Hey.